Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to the introductory episode of FooTea Fantasy Podcast, where we talk about football or American soccer, whatever you prefer to call it, over a cup of tea. We also discuss FPL, and yeah, glad to start this and have you here with us. I'm your host, Shouvik, and I'm joined with my fellow podcaster, a long time friend, a very good friend, and your co host, Shourav. Shourav, how are you doing? And more importantly, how excited are you to start this podcasting journey with me?
Yeah, really excited to start something new. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. How about you?
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to start a podcast with you. This thought of starting a podcast was simmering in my head for quite a long time. And when I texted you about this idea, I expected a reply saying this is crazy or to just shove that idea away. Uh, but yeah, you were supportive, and the reply came as, yeah, let's do it. And since then, there's been no looking back, and it has been a great week trying to prepare all
Yeah,
this, all doing this preparation in the background, working towards releasing the first episode and preparing this podcast. So it's been a great time. I'm having a good time of it, and I hope this is just the starting because this is the first episode, so long way to go, and I'm excited. Yeah, so let's get started, Saurabh. So since this is an introductory pod to all our listeners, we'll give a brief introduction of ourselves. Also tell you what kind of a content you can expect from us and what what was the thought process behind starting this podcast. So yeah, let's get started. Sure, why don't you start and tell us about your journey in football or your early memories of football, how football started for you.
yeah, it's quite an interesting one and a memorable too. So I grew up in a city uh, where football is like a religion, and my earliest memories dates back to sitting with dad, watching Beckham score the free kick against Greece, the Brazilian magic in the World Cup, and countless more. So I tend to watch a lot of game in the Premier League. I support Arsenal. I support Barcelona in Spain. I like both the teams, how they play, how their history has been. It's quite wonderful. In fact, I played a lot of football in college as well, starting from school, obviously, and I continued to play even after that. I love freestyling. Like you obviously know.
Yeah.
I was yeah, I was a fan of those Joga Bonito commercials where where everyone, I mean, everyone was who were a fan of that, and they used to inspire me.
Yeah, the Joga
So
Bonito things were quite famous back then. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely,
I
yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Edgar Davids, Cantona, it was fun. Luis
Yeah,
Figo, Quaresma, yeah,
yeah. Good times. Great. So you're wearing an Arsenal t-shirt also. Yeah.
yeah, I am.
Yeah, so we're
It's
both.
the Blues banana T-shirt. Yeah,
Yes, great. So yeah, good. So for me also, I think football started the other way around. I started playing FIFA first when I was a kid, and um, I was playing FIFA and I had all these players in the game, and then suddenly I switch on the TV and I see all these players that I was playing with on my laptop on the TV, and that got me hooked. I remember the first match that I saw was a Chelsea versus Manchester United match, and since then I have been a Chelsea fan all along, and yeah, have watched Premier League over the years. Have some great memories, good times. Since the time I have started watching football, I think we have had. I'm privileged to watch Giggs, Scholes, Ronaldo at United. Chelsea had their share of great players when I started watching in Drogba, Lampard. Joe Cole was there at that time. He was called the magician for
yeah,
Chelsea, and Terry, obviously John Terry. great team back then. Maluda, Kalu, these kind of players. I think we don't discuss much now, but at that point, these were the players we were talking about all the time. And yeah, so that's how it started for me. So you must have some good memories of Arsenal players back then, won't you?
Yeah. Obviously. So, uh, Thierry Henry, I mean, he was a legend. I especially followed Lundberg and Bergkamp. Their styles of play inspired me. Um, I mean, we used to imitate a lot of skills that Henry did,
Mm.
his a fake shot and all those. Yeah, it was really. I mean, those were the golden years. And yeah, it's start now. Arteta's under Arteta, it's slowly coming to that state. But yeah, I won't have much hopes around it. But yeah,
No,
and on,
I think there's reason to be hopeful because Arteta is really playing good football. I think last season was excellent for Arsenal, and if you ask me, even as a Chelsea fan, I think Arsenal deserve to win the league. I think a couple of games that probably you guys would regret losing to Aston Villa, both home and away.
yep,
One of the legs, at least, you guys dominated, but still lost the match. So it will hurt. But yeah, performance-wise, I think Arteta has built a solid system team, and a good squad. Even further additions this transfer window, and I think the squad is really solid. So this season, maybe next, but yeah, it's coming. You can see it coming.
yeah, this season is going to be hard, especially with Liverpool also in the race. Slot is doing wonders there.
Yeah, Liverpool have started well, but it's one
Yeah,
thing to start well and another thing to maintain that. Not saying they can't do it. They have quality players, obviously. But for a manager in EPL first season to continue that kind of a tempo, especially when the other competitions will also kick in this year, we know the Champions League is a very, I mean, elaborate format to say that
yeah,
in some way. So yeah, the performance levels have to be there right throughout the season. Lots of games this
and a
season.
bigger squad.
Yeah, bigger squad. And there's always pressure with EPL. Premier League, everybody's watching. Most number of viewers. You have criticism from the media uh, throughout. So yeah, I think Liverpool I would say this season are a dark horse for the title. But I think the main competition would be between City and Arsenal. So let's see. All the best.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. So yeah, so that's football for us, and we have been together in college and played together a lot. Uh, but that was playing on,
even FIFA as well.
yeah, even FIFA as well. And but that was playing on the field, playing FIFA. I think those days are quite numbered and day and rare nowadays to say that.
Yeah,
But yeah, but we have now found a new passion in playing FPL, Shourab. So we have both started playing FPL. How is it going for you? Can you please tell us a little bit about your FPL journey, your history, and apart from FPL, have you played any other fantasy games? Can you tell us?
yeah. So I started playing FPL like a full season properly from 2020 when the COVID hit. I mean, we had nothing much to do then. It was boring, so FPL was a means of way out. And yeah, so before that, I had been in FPL casually in and out, but yeah, it was a long game. So 2020 was the start for the long journey ahead. I'm not the worst of the managers. I have had a good season or two under my belt. I have a 40K finish here and there. So yeah, it's been fun. In fact, uh, on the shorter formats, I do well in those kind of fantasy leagues, especially the Euro Cup and the World Cup fantasy. Uh, uh, a memory or an achievement, as you can say, that I was in the top 20, 13th to be exact, in the world in Euro Cup
Oh, that's super impressive.
2016.
That is super
Yeah,
impressive. In the world,
and
13th in the world is absolutely mind-blowing. Great.
and yeah, And even the fantasy after, which was the 2018 World Cup, I had a good rank even then. So quite a fond memory was picking Ronaldo in the first game week as my captain. He had a hat trick against Spain. It was, I mean, he won a penalty, had a hat trick, scored a free kick outside the box. It was like, it was massive points. And especially when people wrote him off, people didn't have him in the team, and it boosted my rank like anything else. That was a fun
That would have hit you like
moment.
a crack. I mean, you would have been
Yeah,
high on football that night.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Great.
So in short, I mean, the F what I've learned from FPL is patience, is a different style of play, kind of thinking long term, evaluating those opportunity cost of taking a hit or making a transfer instead of immediate gains. So yeah, and much more. So
Yeah. So quite, I think 4 or 5 years gives you quite a bit of an experience in playing FPL. So
yep,
that's great. Great. I started playing FPL seriously just last year. Uh, and I did play the Euro Fantasy and the Champions League Fantasy as well. Uh, I had a top 5% uh, rank finish in both, which I think was good for a debut season, and
yeah, absolutely.
won all my many mini leagues uh,
Yeah,
with
yep,
my friends and the work colleagues. So that was quite a confidence booster. But yeah, the FPL did not go that well. Um, I think I was learning. Probably I was a bit too aggressive for my own liking. I took a lot of hits uh, at the start of the season, and I because I was playing for the first time, I didn't realize how much those hits affect you at the end of the day.
yeah. It's supposed to be wild and fun, obviously.
Yeah, it was wild and
So
fun the first season, but this season I've started a little more more seriously, more uh, as a patient manager, taking a leaf out
I
of
can
your
see.
book. Yeah. So a good start this season. Let's see
Yeah,
how it goes. And yeah, that's I'm trying to develop a good patient approach in FPL myself, because last season I've seen patience does pay off, and you have to back your decisions. You can't just take a decision and the next week if that player blanks or a couple of blanks, and then you know you you start panicking, and then you take hits to change your team around and structure around. That doesn't work out. So yeah, we'll share this journey as we go ahead, because now we have started a podcast, and uh, I think week in week out we will be discussing our FPL teams and strategies. So on that very note, Shourav, why don't you tell our listeners, we have talked a lot about ourselves and our histories in FPL and how football went for us, but why don't you tell the listeners what kind of content that we have decided to produce in this podcast, and what the listeners can look forward to in terms of content?
yep. So we are planning to release 2 pods a week. That's the plan. First will be discussing all the games from a game week, starting with the Premier League, and then eventually covering the Champions League. So there are a lot of games in the new format, so that will impact the Premier League as well. And sometimes maybe the Conference League, because we have a Chelsea fan
I
among us.
just knew that was coming. I was hoping this would not come, but yeah. Okay, it's okay. Chelsea have a great squad, and we'll see you in the Champions League next year.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. They have a great, and I mean, they have a huge squad.
Yeah,
So yeah,
great squad. Huge squad is a
so,
different thing. Yeah. So yeah, sorry to cut you off. Yeah, please go ahead.
so the second pod will be mostly our FPL journey. We'll share our teams, our plans, and strategies. So we'll try to not bombard you with stats and keep it a little bit interesting. So that's the idea.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of to be on the fairer side, there are a lot of content creators on FPL and football in general, but we'd like to be a little, I will not say completely different. That would be an overstatement. There are some great accounts out there, but what we are trying to do, I think, is we are going to watch the games, and we will be talking about and discussing FPL picks based on our eye test, based on the games, based on what we see, what we feel, because data can obviously guide you to some great decisions. But I think when you watch the games yourself and the eye test, you can just see and you can just feel the pick in your heart or head, because you can see it on the field. So that's what we'll try to do. We'll look at the games. We'll try to bring you our views of how a team is performing, how a player is doing, where his positioning is in the pitch, and things like that. But completely based on eye test, where we'll touch upon data, but on the very surface level. And instead of presenting maybe heat maps, we will give you the eye test version of where that player is positioned or things like that. So it will be completely based on eye test. And similarly, our game week pod that will release just after every game week would also be that would be, I think, based completely on footballing terms in real life, what we feel about uh, the teams, the manager, the tactics. Uh, we are no experts, but we are crazy football fans. So just
Yeah,
just like anybody else discussing with their buddies, this podcast would be fun. This podcast would be like two friends talking and discussing football, and this is where we want you to join us uh, on this journey. So we are starting. This is the introductory pod, and going ahead, would love to have you uh, on this journey with us. We would like to interact with you on our socials, in the comments. So please feel free to drop in your comments, your views. That will mean a lot to us, and we promise we'll get back and interact with you as much as we can. And It'll be great. It's a great journey. We just want you on board with us, and let's have a very fun community of football fans together. I think that is what our goal is, and that is what we want to do with this pod.
yeah, just a chat among friends.
Yeah, that's just that among friends. So this is, I think, what we wanted to cover in the introductory pod, about a little about ourselves, what you can expect. So I will just conclude this. Going ahead, we will be releasing two pods each week, but that will be after the game week 5 of the EPL. After the game week 4, that is on Sunday, 15th of September. After that, we'll release one pod between game week 4 and game week 5. Uh, we will be covering the Champions League matches as well, and we'll release one pod covering the game week 4 matches, the Champions League matches, and we'll look ahead to game week 5 in terms of FPL. But going ahead, after game week 5, we'll make sure that we release two pods every week, and we'll be consistent with it. So that's a promise that we are going to keep, that we're making in the introductory pod, and we're going to keep. So, anything else you want to add, Shourav?
No, I think it was a fun introductory pod, went better than we thought. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's end on a higher note.
yeah. So, thank you everybody, whoever tuned in and stayed with us through this entire episode. Please, if you're listening to us on the audio platforms on a podcast, please do follow us. And if you're watching this episode on YouTube, please like and subscribe. This was an introductory pod, but we promise we'll bring you great content, very precise, good quality content. We'll interact with you. We'll have a good community. Stay in this journey with us together. Leave your reviews for us going ahead, and we look forward to having you with us on this journey. So thank you.
Thank you.